It's incredibly painful to know his last days.
What happens when a person simply evaporates? For the families left behind, the world stops turning the moment their loved one vanishes. Every year that passes isn't just time, it's a growing mountain of silence. In the world of true crime, missing is often the most haunting word of all because it lacks the finality of an ending. It is a life suspended in mid-air. But today, we are looking at 3 extraordinary stories where that silence was finally broken. These are cases that span decades, mysteries that were hidden behind false identities, buried in secret graves, or even locked away in the minds of the victims themselves. From a woman who discovered her true identity after 40 years to a national tragedy that ended in a chilling courtroom confession, these are 3 missing persons cases that were finally and shockingly solved. Case 1. The baby who lived a lie. Our first case begins with a disappearance so baffling it took 42 years to realize that the victim was still walking among us. In late 1980, an entire family, Harold Dean Clouse, his wife Tina, and their infant daughter Holly Marie, officially vanished. For decades, their names sat on missing persons lists, but the truth was hidden behind a wall of religious secrets and a brutal double murder. Harold and Tina were a young couple who had just moved from Florida to Texas, chasing a fresh start with their baby girl. They were the kind of people who called home every week, but in October 1980, the line went dead. No letters, no calls, no trace. A family of 3 had simply evaporated. Months later, Harold's mother received a bizarre phone call from a woman calling herself Sister Susan. She claimed that the couple had joined a nomadic religious group, surrendered all their earthly possessions, and wanted absolutely no contact with their past lives. For a family in the early 80s, this was a devastating but plausible explanation. They spent 40 years believing their children had simply chosen to abandon them. But the reality was a nightmare. While the family was waiting for a letter that would never come, a gruesome discovery had already been made. In early 1981, 2 unidentified bodies were found in a wooded area in Houston. They had been bound, gagged, and murdered. Without modern DNA technology, they were buried as Jane and John Doe. For over 40 years, the police were looking for a missing family, not realizing that the parents were already lying in unidentified graves. The most haunting question remained: where was the baby? If Harold and Tina were dead, what happened to Holly Marie? The breakthrough finally came in 2021 through genetic genealogy. The Jane and John Does were identified as Harold and Tina Clouse. Investigators immediately launched a desperate search for the missing child, who would now be a woman in her 40s. In June 2022, they found her in Oklahoma. It turned out that shortly after her parents were murdered, members of that mysterious religious group had dropped baby Holly off at a church in Arizona.
It was a November day in 1980 at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Yuma. It's where Pastor Philip McGoldrick heard a knock at his door that would change his life forever.
And so I opened the door a crack and said, can I help you? And I could see 2 ladies dressed in white. And I'm expected to ask for money or something like that. And they said, well, what we really need is somebody to take care of a baby.
That baby was Holly Marie Clouse.
They explained, well, we're not looking for someone to babysit. We want someone to take this baby, take the baby off our hands, and with the idea of raising her.
The mysterious women who dropped off Holly were part of a nomadic cult called the Christ family. Yvonne Peach is the owner of the historic Coronado Motel and says she saw the group wandering around Yuma throughout the 80s.
It was just a group of people. They came around that corner and I seen them, and they looked like they just walked out of the Bible to me. I had never seen anybody like that in my whole life, ever.
McGoldrick would adopt Holly and raise her as his own, both he and Holly having no idea that her biological parents were murdered.
My dad obviously told me that the women in white robes brought me to him and didn't know anything about the murders until the investigators came knocking on my restaurant door.
After 42 years as a missing person, Holly was finally reunited with her biological grandmother, closing a circle that had been broken for a lifetime.
God kept me safe and protected all these years, and I just want you to know that. We never give up. No, never give up. God never gives up on us.
Case 2, the boy who changed America. While Holly Marie's case ended with a miracle, our second case remains one of the most heartbreaking chapters in American history. If you lived through the 1990s, you knew the face of Jacob Wetterling. On the night of October 22, 1989, 11-year-old Jacob was biking home with his brother and a friend in St. Joseph, Minnesota. In the dark of night, a masked man with a gun stopped them. He took Jacob and told the other boys to run into the woods.
He seems like he's doing 60, 70. We started running.
They ran into Adam's friend's open garage and cowered there as the car pulled in and sat there, its high beams pointing at them.
We're just sitting in the driveway. You're like, what's going on? You know, this is crazy. And then he backed up into that person's driveway.
The car stayed several minutes and then left.
This disappearance traumatized an entire country. Jacob's face appeared on every milk carton and billboard. His mother, Patty Wetterling, became a national advocate, helping pass federal laws for sex offender registries. But for 27 years, the case was a void. Porch lights stayed on every winter, waiting for a boy who never came home. The resolution finally came in 2016, and it was more horrific than anyone had imagined. As part of a plea deal, a local man named Danny Heinrich finally sat down in a courtroom and described exactly what happened. He admitted that he had driven Jacob to a remote location where he sexually assaulted the boy. In a detail that broke the heart of the nation, Heinrich revealed Jacob's final words. As Heinrich prepared to kill him to cover his tracks, Jacob looked at his captor and simply asked, "What did I do wrong?" Heinrich then shot the boy and buried him in a shallow grave on a farm.
I want to say, Jacob, I'm so sorry. It's incredibly painful to know his last days, last hours, last minutes. We love you, Jacob. We will continue to fight. Our hearts are hurting. For us, Jacob was alive until we found him. We need to heal.
For nearly 30 years, while his mother fought for the safety of all children, his killer lived just a few miles away. The recovery of Jacob's remains brought a crushing end to the mystery, proving that sometimes the predator is a neighbor hiding in plain sight. Our final case is perhaps the most surreal recovery in the history of missing children. It begins in 1977 in Hawaii when a 6-month-old baby disappeared along with her mother. At the time, he was known as Mark's Panama Barnes. For 34 years, his biological father, Mark Barnes, never stopped looking. He kept his case active in every database, staring at the grainy photograph of the infant he had lost. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in New Jersey, a man named Steve Carter was living a perfectly normal life. He knew he was adopted, but he was told he was an orphan from Hawaii. He had no reason to believe he was a missing person. Everything changed in 2011. After seeing a news story about a similar case, Steve visited missingkids.com. He filtered the search for Hawaii and stopped when he saw an age progression image, a forensic artist's rendition of what a missing baby might look like as a 35-year-old man. Steve described the experience as a physical shock. He wasn't looking at a stranger, he was looking in a mirror.
Pretty much a spitting image.
The profile belonged to Mark's Panama Barnes, the identity he never knew he had. Steve contacted the authorities and a DNA test confirmed the impossible. He was that missing baby. It turned out that after his mother disappeared with him, she had placed him in a foster home under a false name, leading to his adoption without his true identity ever being discovered. The moment Steve called his biological father, who had waited for 3 decades to hear that voice, was nothing short of a miracle.
He was convinced that my mother had taken me and raised me somewhere else. And I think one of his first questions to me was, "Where's your mother?" And I said, "That's a fantastic question. I have the same one for you." And I think he was a bit dumbfounded by that response.
This case proves that sometimes the missing are just waiting for the moment they realize they are lost. These 3 stories are a testament to the fact that missing does not have to be forever. We live in an era where the past is finally catching up with the present. Whether it's a woman finding her family after 40 years, a killer finally forced to confess, or a man discovering his own face on a website, the truth has a way of surfacing. The families in these cases spent lifetimes in the shadows of the unknown, but today they have their answers. It's a reminder to all of us that no matter how much time passes, we should never stop looking. Which of these stories moved you the most? The miraculous survival of Holly, the tragic innocence of Jacob, or the surreal discovery of Steve Carter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found these stories as powerful as I did, please like this video and subscribe to help us keep these names alive. Thank you for watching.